And we are live.
Yes, we
Hello, every.
are.
Yes, we are here now. Sorry for that delay. I think we're about 10 minutes late. We're sorry about that. It's just due to one thing or the other.
Yes.
I was out here live earlier just to tell you that I'll be bringing an amazing coach, a registered nurse
Oh.
and digital business coach, and an AI guru. So we
Hey,
have
Guru,
her here.
you used the G word for me.
We have her here. So, for those of you that are meeting me for the first time, my name is Felicia Bossedi Akintola. I am a mom to three wonderful children. I am a wife. I'm a registered nurse. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I currently work and live in the United Kingdom. And on the side, I run this amazing digital business that we are here to share with you today. So, if you would let me know where you're watching from, please just put in the comment section so that I know how global I am, and then I can also acknowledge you. So, without much ado, I'm not even going to waste time today. It's not about me today, it's about Caroline. So, I'll give the
Oh.
floor to Caroline to introduce herself to our audience. Please, Caroline, can you introduce yourself, please?
Oh my goodness. It's such an honor. Yeah, we've been talking about this for a little bit. So finally, I mean, I'm glad that it finally happened. Thank you so much, sis, for having me. Hello everybody. Thank you for joining. Please share. I always say this. Please share. This may not be for you, but it's definitely for somebody. It could be for somebody on your timeline. So please definitely share if you're on here. My name is Caroline. I am originally from Cameroon and I live in the US. I am a mom of four little girls. I am a wife and I'm a registered nurse as well, just like my sister said. And I'm a digital business owner and mentor and coach. And I've been doing this now for over 2 years, and it's just been a game changer for my family and I. So every time I have an opportunity to, share this, what I call good news, it's an absolute honor that I do not take for granted. So thank you again for having me here, sis.
Thank you very much for coming on with us. And thank you, our followers, for watching. I can see there's someone watching. So, Caroline, I won't even take much of your time. Today, I want to ask you just a few questions. One of them is, what motivated you to take this huge career shift from being a registered nurse to being a business coach, a digital business coach, not just any ordinary other business, but a digital business? What are your motivations? What inspired you to go into the online space?
Man, like I always like to give a little disclaimer. There's
Okay.
a long story behind this. I don't know if we have enough enough time for it, but I don't know if you guys can hear me. Yeah. So there's a long story behind this, and I'm just going to give the summarized version of that story. I get this question quite a bit, and so I in 2020 I was pregnant. Can you hear me? I was
Yes.
pregnant. I was pregnant with my daughter, with our third baby, and I was working full time. And if you remember 2020, that was like the, COVID and everything, and the whole scary situation and all. So I remember just being so anxious every time I had to go to work and leave my family behind, and then also knowing that I was high risk with the pregnancy. And then my dad lives with us. My dad then was 73 because he's about to turn 75, and that also made him part of the high risk category, right? So I remember every time I'll be driving to work, I'm just like, hey God, hopefully I don't get this thing, because I already knew that if I got it, it would probably be very, very serious. And
Yes.
how Job said in the Bible, the thing that I feared happened. That was
Yeah.
my case. The thing that I feared happened. I got COVID
Oh,
and I got really sick. I was hospitalized. I was in the ICU for a bit, and then my daughter, they had to do an emergency C-section, so she was in the NICU for about 8 weeks. And in the US, I don't know about in the UK. In the US, maternity leave is just 12 weeks. So by the time I knew it, bam, it was time to go back to work. And my in Cameroon we say your dust had just settled. Like my dust had just settled from being back from being back at home. And I couldn't, you know how like you just had a baby, you want to take time to just bond with your child and just relax and everything. I had to start preparing to go back to work because guess what? One of the things that we knew for sure was the big bills were going to start coming, right? And we're not just talking about regular bills of, oh, I went and I had a baby, and now I'm home. We're talking about NICU bills, we're talking about ICU bills, we're talking about emergency room stay, C-section, and all of that stuff. So we knew that those big bills were going to start coming. So I not only went back to work, I started a second nursing job. And, like that wasn't new territory for me. For most of my nursing career, I'd worked 2 jobs anyways. But this particular season was different because again, COVID, and then again, I just had a baby. My body had gone through it, right? Like when we're talking about an ordeal, my body had gone through it. And I felt like I just needed a couple of months to heal, right? Physically, it may not have looked like, okay, physically it was like, okay, you're fine now. But, there's the psychological aspect of it, especially when you just had a baby, and I remember that thing I went through postpartum depression. And I know it was also as a result of just that I wasn't ready to get back out there, right? But again, when you're an immigrant, when you're a mom, when you're a family member, and then you have family back home that you also need to support, you wear those multiple hats. There are sometimes that you just do not have a choice, right? And unfortunately, that season met us without a plan B. And that's why I do not take opportunities like this where I can come on and share my story for granted, because I believe that this story could help somebody not make some of the mistakes that I made. Like, don't wait to go through those seasons before you're like, oh, I probably should have another stream of income in place. Don't wait to go through those seasons. Learn from people like us who made those mistakes already, right? So that was the season that my husband and I were like, you know what, we need another stream of income. Okay. My husband worked full time, but he was also in school full time. So, I mean, there was only so much that he could do. So I went back to work, started a second nursing job, but we were actively looking for another stream of income. And a lot of people, because one of the things I've heard a lot of excuses, as a coach. When you see somebody will be like, I really want to do this business, I think this may be for me, but maybe next year. Why next year? That was the season that we decided that, okay, in this difficult season that we're going through, we're going to take action to change our circumstances. We could have been like, you know what, this is a very difficult season. Let's come out of this season first before we start looking for opportunities. Or even if we've seen the opportunities, let's wait and then let all of our ducks line up in a row, which will not happen. All of your ducks will never line up in a row. Just FYI. There's always going to be something, right, that you can latch on as an excuse, especially if you're looking for an excuse. So, but for us, that was the scene that we're like, no, like if there's one thing that we can learn from this season is the fact that as an immigrant, especially me, as immigrants, our stories are very connected in some ways, right? Like there are very similar pain points, there are very similar motivations, there are very similar backgrounds to our story. So I speak especially to immigrants, but if you're watching this and you're not an immigrant, this could also apply to you. Like, why just have one stream of income if you could have multiple? Right? So that season we learned that lesson the hard way, and so we started looking. And we did not consider, well, we briefly considered the option of a traditional business. But the issue that we had with the traditional business was, number one, the capital, very high capital requirement. We looked at the option of maybe starting an African store, and the numbers that they were giving us was to the tune of $20-something thousand. And then you have to hire at least 2 workers, one to work at the front, the other to work at the back. And I was like, I don't have no $20-something thousand. And then you have to start thinking about paying people,
Right.
hourly, and then rent at the location.
Mm.
And so, we just humbly walked away from that.
That's
And
it.
then again, if you're running an African store, especially the first couple of months or the first few years,
You're at
it
loss.
requires a lot of time, right? There's a lot of time. It needs your physical presence. My plate was already full. Like, I mean, life was rough. Let me put it that way. Life was very rough. So I was like, okay, we need to find a business that I can do from home. I had already tried the home-based catering thing. I remember there's this wedding I was paid about, I think, $500, and just to prepare took me like an entire week just to prepare, like background preparation and everything. And then the prepping of like the ingredients and everything took me about 24 hours before. And then the cooking, by the time I was done, I was like, this $500 is not worth it. If I can even dash you people this money, this $500 is not. My back hurt, my feet hurt, I could barely stand. And then guess what? I had to go to work the next day
Wow.
because that was my side hustle.
Yeah.
I had to go to work, and then our job as nurses, right? You're on your feet again.
Yeah.
So this season we were like, okay, I need something that I can do from home, possibly online. But the whole concept of an online business again, we were like, hey, these online
Like,
businesses, you have a lot of scams out there, and all of that. So I was initially skeptical about the concept of an online business. But again, I shopped on Amazon, and I
yeah.
had to ask myself, what kind of business do you think Amazon is? It's an online business. It's just a different business model, right? So in the online space, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we just knew that we had to be careful in not getting caught up in the ugly or in the bad, right? So we had a checklist on exactly what we're looking for in an online business, and it had three things on it. Number one, it had to be legitimate. It could not be one of those businesses where they start telling you, we'll teach you how to evade tax. No, no, no. Like with this business, we've paid our taxes every single year. We told somebody the other day, they almost passed out. Last year, we paid 30 something thousand US dollars. Yeah. In
Wow.
business tax. We paid 30 something thousand. They were like, okay, I can just imagine how much you made to
Yeah, to
pay.
have paid that much.
I'm like, I'll just leave that to your imagination.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, but that's just for the person that is like, oh, is it a scam? Mm-mm. Why would I be paying tax on a scam? That doesn't make sense, right? So that was part of our checklist. We needed something that was legitimate, number one. And then number two, it had to be flexible because, like I said, my plate was already full, two nursing jobs, a brand new baby who was a preemie, and then two other kids under the age of 5, and then my father, right?
Yeah.
So again, my plate was full, so we needed something flexible. And then the third thing was we had to see the potential profitability of it. The business model had to make sense enough for us to see a clear path of growth in it for us, right? So I mean, when by the time we got more information, we watched the free webinar, and we got an opportunity to connect with our coach, because everybody that gets started, you're assigned a business mentor and a one-on-one digital business coach, which is an amazing resource for any business owner, right? So by the time I was asking my coach questions, I mean, my list, it was check mark, check mark. It's like, can you send me the paperwork? When can we get started? So, but yeah, so that's how I got started. And it's been an amazing journey. I told you it was going to be a long story. But yeah,
Yes.
so that's that's how we started.
Well, wow, you nearly answered all the questions I have for you today in one question, but I'll still ask two of them. And for those that are watching us, you can hear from Caroline, like she wanted something to do on the side. And don't wait. I always say this, don't wait until that time when you feel choked to start something on the side. Like I think I also, well, for me, I was doing something, I've been doing businesses, But then the businesses I was doing then would require me to go out. I wanted something that I could do from home, that I didn't need to really go out to get materials or get
Yeah.
products and all that, because I do products, materials, but I did not anymore. I did products and materials then, but then they were taking me off home. And at the point I said, okay, I'll just do agency shifts. I was doing like 2 agencies and with my primary job. So I had,
Wow.
typical of nurses in the diaspora,
Yes,
pay the
that's
bills,
what
because
we do. Mm-hmm.
the kind of business I was into then were too stressful. Like I had to get stuff from Nigeria and then start looking for people to buy and all. So I said, anyway, I'll just be doing my agency shifts. But then today is not about me. So it's just to tell you, like at the time when I started this, I needed something really to do that would not take me away from home, just from the
Yeah.
comfort of my home. And like you said, when I watched the webinar, and it all started from somewhere. It started by going on the website of my mentor. So today, if you're watching us and you feel like you need something, just go on any of our website. If it's Caroline's or mine, anyone that resonates with you, put your name and your email address. Watch the free 90 minutes webinar. Take the further steps. Check them out. Check it out and see if this is what you can do, if this is meant for you. And like Caroline said, we pay taxes. It is legitimate. So do not be afraid of the legitimacy of this business. This is 100%. Otherwise, we won't be out here. I'm a registered nurse. I'm governed by a body. Like
Yes. So
yes, I still work as a registered nurse. So if this is not legitimate, I won't be out,
you
because
can.
I don't want
Hey.
to jeopardize my pin.
Yes. Yes.
Because
And we
people
go
will just
through a
start,
lot in
yeah,
nursing school.
yes.
Nursing school is one
So
of the hardest things I ever did in my life.
absolutely, absolutely. So if you are interested, just sign up today. So Caroline, I know it is okay for you now. Now you've overcome all the challenges, but whenever you're trying to shift career, because from being a registered nurse, now being a digital business coach, well, you started from being a mentor to a coach.
Mhm.
And did you face any challenge? And if there are challenges, just tell us few of them and tell
Yeah.
us how you overcame them.
So that's a very good question, because I'm one of those people who always likes a balanced perspective, right? So yeah, tell me the good, the good, the good, but also tell me um the difficulties, so I know how to prepare and everything. For me, the biggest thing, especially when I started and I was launching, is number one, I didn't have any experience in running an online business. And I'm not the most tech savvy person, right? What I do now online, like there are a lot of people that are like, oh, that's because you're good at this. I wasn't born like this. I wasn't born being good at it, right? I mean, I had to learn. But that also lends credibility to how good the training is, right? To where somebody can look at me now, barely 2 years after starting this business, and they're like, oh, you look like you've always been tech savvy. You look like you've always known how to do this. No, I promise you, I was a novice in every sense of the word when I started this thing. I'd never done an online business. I had never, outside of my catering business, I'd never really owned a business like this. And again, my introduction into an online business was a global business. So it's not just a business that is limited to the US or to Canada or to the UK, where my sister here lives. It's a global business. I've done coaching calls with people in places where I literally had to Google the location to see, like, oh, I've never heard of this name before. Some of them I have to ask my dad, because my dad is very good with geography, and then he'll be like, "Oh, it's in this continent near this peninsula. It's a peninsula. I'm like, what?"
Yeah.
But that's how global it is, right? So, when I started, one of the challenges that I experienced was, I think my mindset was a big part of it too. And that mindset came from the place of, okay, I don't have experience in doing this thing. Do I maybe need to do a crash course in IT, to get my feet wet before I get started? But by the time I dove right into the training, I realized that the training was made for somebody like me.
Okay.
They break it down. Like, I mean, they assume you don't even know how to create a Facebook business page. That's how basic they make it. And then it's mostly video based.
Yeah.
So you're able to literally like there's somebody in the video saying, click here, go here, go here, go here, and you can follow. And even if you feel like you're getting lost or everything, you have your mentor, you have your coach. So there's extra guidance, there's resources. They've already assumed that you don't know nothing about this. That's the best way to explain it. I was having a conversation with someone like, I think the way they set this up, they really assume that we know nothing about this stuff, and then the aim is just to guide you step by step, tab by tab. And then there's also that available support. There's a whole IT team. And like I said, you have your coach, you have your mentor, you have a team of people that you can lean on, that you can rely on. Just absolutely amazing. And then the other thing that I struggled with, so that's how I was able to surmount it. When I went through my training, I realized that, oh, okay, like it's not that complex. They've really broken it down to my level, right? And then the other thing was time. One of the questions I asked my coach was, do I need a lot of time to be able to do this? Because just tell me now, if it's something that is going to require 6 hours of my day, 4 hours of my day, 5 hours of my day, I don't have it. I don't have that time to give. And she was like, no. And I mean, she also told me she's a wife, she's a mom. She also was a PhD student at the time. So she told me, no, like there's days when I spend 1 hour on my business, days when I spend 2 hours. And then again, it's at your own pace, right? The whole idea of encouraging you to start a business that has your name on it or your family member's name on it, or whatever name you want to use for your business, is so that you can be your own boss. So you determine the pace with which you run your business, you determine the pace with which you go through your training. And that is what really, really, really helped me. I mean, I went from wishing I owned a business to literally going through the training and launching my business within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, a business that I had never done before. I was not tech savvy. Right? I didn't come with any bag of tricks or experience or anything like that. And then I was spending there were honestly, there were days where I didn't even have up to 2 hours or even an hour. What am I saying, up to 2 hours? Because again, with the 2 nursing jobs and the kids and everything, there were days where, but I was very intentional. And I'm going to show you my business book right here. It has dog ears and everything. This was the book. Like, I bought this huge book from Walmart, and this was what I used. I would sit down. There were days when I had 30 minutes, I would sit down with my book in one corner, and I am focused and intentional. That's another thing I always tell people. You don't need to have a whole lot of time. You just have to be intentional. You just have to be intentional. So those were the key challenges that I faced, and I was able to surmount them because of how the business is set up. I call the business package plug and play system.
That's it.
It really is a plug and play system. Wow. Very user friendly. There are so many people that do online businesses where they have to figure out the website creation by themselves. Some of them don't even know what a sales funnel is. And I'm like, how are you running a business in 2024? You don't know what a sales funnel is, wow. Right? And then when they get to find out about a sales funnel, they have to figure out how to set it up or pay somebody to set it up for them.
Yeah.
They have to figure out the product list. Either they're manufacturing their own products or they're sourcing out suppliers from Alibaba or any of the other, websites, trying to find a supplier. They have to figure out how to follow up, with their buyers. They go ship out products, and so many moving parts. And those that have experience in running a business, they understand what I'm talking about. The easiest coaching calls that I do, are with people that have had experience in running their own business. Like, before I even get halfway, they're like, send me the paperwork. Yes. No. They're like, do you mean it? Like, you guys, everything is in the package. The way I'm like, I'm telling you. Otherwise, how else would I have been able? My sister told me, my sister is based in Canada, and she finally started the business as well.
Okay.
She thought I was the craziest person to want to start a business in the season that we were going through. And she was even asking me, do you realize what you're going through? I'm like, are you telling me Are
Yeah.
you telling me what I'm going through?
Mhm.
You know, Shola, how can you, with everything you have going on, you want to add a business
Yeah.
on top of it? A
Yeah.
business that you've never done before. You have no it's not like you're getting another nursing job, which I would say you're crazy for doing that. But at least with nursing, you have experience in being a nurse. You're starting something where you literally have to learn the ropes and everything. I'm like, we'll
Wow.
do it.
Yeah.
God is faithful. And
Yeah.
she, after I started and everything, my business took off. She also started.
Wow.
Yes. My dad does the business.
Cool.
My sister does the business. Yes.
Uh,
My sister does the business. And this also is to those who are like skeptical or are worried about, is it legitimate? You think I'll involve my dad in something that is not legitimate, or
yes.
I'll be okay with my sister or my dad or any of my family members doing. My husband is also a coach in the business. So something that started with just me, because when I started, my husband was not as excited about it as I was. Like, he was, what's the word, cautiously optimistic. You know, the kind of thing of,
Yeah.
you go ahead and let's see how
Yeah.
it goes. You go ahead. I'm like, oh, it's not tompier, because in Cameroon there's something we say tompier monpier in French. Like, where your foot is, that's where my own is too. Like, so we're doing everything together. I'm like, it's not tompier monpier with this one. He's like, no, you go ahead, and then we'll see how it goes. So I mean, but with the way my business took off, he also started, and we both are coaches. He's doing amazingly well, and he's mainly French speaking. So again,
Yeah.
if your primary language is not English, or maybe you feel like you're not very fluent in English, you can still do it.
This for you.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you so much,
I've
Carol.
probably answered like 10
Oh God.
questions in
Yeah,
one.
I am already like full. I am inspired. Even me that's already in the business, I am inspired. I don't even know where to start from. Like, what do I talk on? No, you said everything. Like literally everything.
I can't help myself. I can't.
Honestly, because you've been there, you've been through it, and this is
Yeah,
coming from the place of experience and spilling out all that you've gone through. And I can tell you, like, a lot of people are going through the same, but it's just the fear of taking that fourth step.
yeah,
And you can hear from Caroline, if you are like that, if you're in that situation and you feel like maybe now is not the right time. When I started, it wasn't the right time because it
mm-mm.
was really a very hard time as well. My mentor would know about it. I said, look, I don't think, even at the time when I heard, no, your VAT, I said, oh my God, this is UK. I am not even going in again. She said, since you are already at this stage, go. I
Yeah,
said, the VAT, because with UK, so if this
yeah,
is not legitimate, we won't pay VAT and all
yeah,
that.
exactly.
I was like, with the VAT, 20% UK, I am not doing that. She said, look, sis, you're already here. And
Yes.
God is taking you somewhere. That's why you're saying all this. And honestly, I'm so glad that I did.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's the best thing I've done so far. So far. There's the coach, there's the mentor, there's a system. When you were talking about the sales funnel and everything, a lot of people have actually reached out to me on Facebook when they saw that I run digital business and all. Oh, do you want us to help you set up your funnel and everything?
Yeah.
I think I have a system. If I actually responded to one today, I said, I have a system that's taking care of
Yes,
all
to
that.
take care of all of that.
And that is what you get from this business if you
Mm-hmm.
sign up today. Just go on our website and take the bold step. Caroline, before you go finally, I know that, you haven't told us that biggest achievement that you've made
Hey,
in business. That
where do I
what is
start?
that thing that stood out that made you quit your nursing jobs? Because I
Ooh,
know that you've quitted, but then you've not told us. But I know I've seen it. I went on your page and I think I spent well over 2 hours. I was motivated, inspired, and
you crack me up. You're like, I spent over 2 hours.
because I just kept, it was just like this. It's just like today because, oh my God, we're already 30 minutes and I didn't know this thing.
Yes. I
Honestly,
mean,
yeah. So please tell us, what is
it's
your
a
biggest
long list.
achievement?
It's a long list. And I'm not, I'm like, I'm not one of those people that will like gatekeep information or be like, oh, this person. No, because I feel like this could also motivate somebody, right? So I remember before I started this business, I created in 2019. That was the when I created my first vision board. And on that vision board, I put on there, at the time I was still doing the home-based catering as a side hustle and everything, stress, everything. So I started watching this lady on YouTube and she kept talking about vision board, the importance of doing a vision board. So I did, that was my first vision board that I did. And that year I put on the vision board that I was going to own a global business and I was going to be a certified global business coach. I had not heard about this business then. I didn't know nothing about this business then. So I just left it. You know how you just do some things in faith? Like I just left it there. And so fast forward now to 2020 when everything happened. And then in 2021, I found out about the business. And then I found out that there was a coaching component to it. And when you become a coach, that unlocks another stream of income. I'm like, hey, God.
Bueno.
I'm like, is this how you love me? You know, because initially when I had seen the way I found out about the business, it wasn't even an ad or anything. I saw a post that my now business coach made. And at the time, I wasn't friends with her outside of Facebook. We were friends, but you know how you have some of those friends on Facebook and you even wonder, how did I become friends with this person? Like you really don't have common friends like that. You don't know each other outside of Facebook. So we really did not engage prior to me seeing her post that. So, but when I saw her, all she said in the post was, if you're a mom and you're looking for a legitimate business that you can do from the comfort of your home, DM me. I have something that could be of interest to you. When I read that, it felt to me almost like she was talking to me. Right. So I slid in her DM, asked her for more information, and that's how I found out about the business and I got started. So before even I found out about this business, I remember I'd seen a post, because when I put that on my vision board that I wanted to be one day a global business coach, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I had never done any training on coaching before. But then I started following business coaches on Facebook. And there's this one lady that I followed. And 1 month she put on her Facebook page that she had made $10,000 in 1 month. Ah, hey, me, struggling nurse. That even with the 2 nursing jobs that I was seeing, I had never seen 10,000. When I saw that, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. You know how sometimes you see, I don't know if it's just me, but there are some people that you see, like some of like these really wealthy people, and then you just imagine how their lives are. You know, it's like you even start planning on their money. If I had that kind of money, this is what I'll do. That, to be honest, that is what went through my mind when I saw that lady's post that she made $10,000 just from coaching. She was an engineer and she quit her job as an engineer because of coaching, right? And she said she made, that was her first 5-figure month. She made $10,000. I started this business. And when I was added in, we have like this, global private Facebook business group. And I started seeing some of the numbers on there. Hey. My mind, like imagine my reaction when I'd seen that lady's $10,000. And then to see that in this business, in the community, there are people making 6 figures on a monthly basis. I'm not talking about 6 figures in 1 year, 6 figures on a monthly basis. There was one I saw, like, I can tell you for a fact that from when I did my coaching call to when I officially got started, I probably did not have a good night's sleep.
Wow.
I was on that, scrolling up and down that Facebook business group. And sometimes I'll wake my husband up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, can you, these are human beings making these numbers. I don't see 2 heads on their shoulders. These are people with just 1 head. And I remember going back to my coach and I asked her, I was like, okay, these people that are making some of these numbers, do they have access to a different system, or we all have access to the same system? She said, we all have access. When you get started, we all have access to the same system. You have access to the same training, the same tools, the same resources, the same support. I'm like, this is it. I went and I created my business vision board.
Okay.
You should have seen the things that I put on that vision board. I can still remember the first day my husband walked in, because I put it on the wall of our bedroom. He walked in and he had his glasses on, and he was even adjusting his glasses, and he was looking at some point he burst out laughing. He He was like, this woman, you're crazy. Like a business that you've not even gone through the training yet. You
Yeah.
don't even know how it works. You
Mm.
don't even, you've not even launched. You're already putting on there that by your third month of running the business, you make your first 5 figures. And by your blah blah blah, if your first year of running the business, you make 6 figures total. He's like, are you okay? Do you know what's this? I was just looking at him. I'm like, keep laughing. My God is seeing you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking to God here.
But guess what?
Mhm.
And again, like I said, this is in the interest of full disclosure and everything. My first month of running the business, I launched the business end of April, beginning of May 2021. And my first month of running the business, my first full month was May of 2021. I made 3,000 something dollars, which blew my mind because again, I'm coming from the mindset of a registered nurse who has to work
Yeah.
very hard for every single dollar that she makes.
Mhm.
So to see that I could make that legitimately from the comfort of my home, I didn't have to go nowhere. I didn't have to run after nobody. I didn't have to pester family and friends. I didn't have to do no house parties or tea parties or whatever other business models do. I didn't have to do all of that just from the comfort of my home. My first business partner was based in Canada. I'm like, talk about a global business. Yes.
Wow. That's it.
And so that first full month of launching the business, I made 3,000 something. My second month, I made 8,000 something dollars. My third month, which I wrote on my vision, but remember, my third
Yeah.
month, I made 11,000 something dollars. I almost collapsed. Hey, I was ready to quit every
Nothing.
job I was doing at that point.
You were ready to quit nursing.
I was able to quit anything quittable.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
like, my boss don't even, in fact, when I tallied my income for that month, right? And my coach actually posted about it because that day, to be honest, though, I wasn't feeling good. But it wasn't that kind of feeling good where you will not go to work, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I felt worse before. I've had a cold before and I slap on a mask and I still go to work. That day, I was just not,
The mood. Yeah.
when I tallied my income and I saw that I had made 11,000 something dollars that month, I called off. I called my boss and I said I wasn't coming. And I told my coach, and she was laughing. She was like,
Wow.
is this the level? I'm like, this is the level.
Ooh.
I'm not going to know if I don't feel good, I'm not going. Right. And to me, that was a very defining moment for me. Because like I said before, I will be sick, or even my kids will be sick. But I knew that I could not afford to not go to work. Because again, you're pinching pennies, you're pinching every single dollar, counted at that point. So by I think, was it the 7th month? Yeah, I think it was about the 7th month that I was running the business. My husband was actually the one that said, he was like, what is the point of calling something a side hustle that is bringing in more than our main hustles combined?
Yeah.
I was like, what did you say? He was like, what is the point? He's like, I think, you may as well just consider quit. I did not even wait for, I'm like, I just wrote down, I just went ahead and I sent in my quit notice for my main nursing job, which was a big deal for me. Like most of my nursing career, I'd worked 2 nursing jobs. So that was it. I still remember typing it and then just being so emotional. I even posted it in our private Facebook group and I'm just like, I cannot believe it. And so at that point now, I was running the business full time because prior to that point, I was still running the business on a part-time basis and doing the 2 nursing jobs. Okay. So I quit that one, and a couple of months down the line, I quit the second one because consistent 5 figures.
Wow.
Like month by month, consistent 5 figures. So I have not worked as a registered nurse for over a year now. We had our 4th baby. Somebody said the other day, so now you're just home running your business and making more babies. I'm like, I guess.
Becoming a baby factory.
So I haven't worked as a registered nurse for over a year now, and we had our 4th baby October 3rd. And I tell everybody, I'm like, I'm on everlasting maternity leave. I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
thinking about no one. Somebody even made the error of asking me the other day, are you going to go back to nursing at some point? I'm like, to look for who? Have I not paid my dues? Have I not tried? But yeah,
Eventually,
so
wow.
it's been, and I only have time to talk about the financial aspect, because if
Yeah,
I want to even bring in the personal development, like the growth that I've experienced, and the networking and the connections that I've been able to make, the mindset shift, and what that has done for me and my family, we'll be here all day.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but that's just a summarized
Wow,
summary. It's
that
been
is,
it's been an amazing, yeah,
this is
blessing.
mind blowing. It is mind blowing. This is amazing. And I can tell you, you see everyday people making this, and you are still sitting there. I don't know what you're waiting
I
for.
don't know what you're waiting for. Is this not? This
No,
is already February. We're already towards the end of February. Did we
February.
not just say Happy New Year just the other day?
The other day, yes.
Just the
Um,
other day we said Happy New Year. So I don't know what you're waiting for.
I'm sorry, Caroline. I'll quickly take some comments. I don't want to keep you for too long. It's just to see and acknowledge our followers. Mr. Dekunle, welcome on board, Caroline. He says, let me just put it out so you can also see. Welcome on board, Caroline. Good evening, Felicia. Thank you for watching
Thank
and
you.
get to learn new things today. Thank you, sir. And there's this new Kalimba. Thank you, Kalimba, for watching. And Lillian says, this is inspiring.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
And no replanning on other people's money. You remember when you said you were seeing the figures of other people, and you were like, you already said, I want to be like looking at them, their lifestyle. It's not real planning. You're not planning anything on other people's money.
I mean,
Wow. And she says, Caroline, I feel you. That was exactly how I felt. And you see, whenever people you see those figures, you are really
yeah.
motivated, you want to do more. And wow, this is interesting. And we have Adigbenro Newton. Thank you, Mr. Adigbenro.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't know. Your baby is almost birthday mate of
Oh,
Lillian. Lillian is
really?
also a business partner.
That's
I
nice.
actually got to know you through a page because I saw she shared your post and I just went through
Oh,
it. I know I used to see you on Mastermind sometimes,
yes.
webinar, but then when I saw the post, I was like, wow, that's the Caroline. Okay,
That's that,
let's see,
Caroline.
let me watch. And I was glued to your page. I said, oh,
Oh, thank you.
here because I, so I need to bring her here. And honestly, tonight is amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Afternoon at your end, I know
Yes. It's
it's almost
12,
7 p.m.
12:52 here. Yeah.
and we are 42 minutes into this live. And I didn't even feel it. I
I
can
know.
tell
I
you.
remember. I
We
remember
just,
we said 15 to
just
30
yeah.
minutes.
And I told you like 15, 20 minutes,
But
I'll release
see, the
you.
thing
I'm
is,
so
when
sorry.
you said 15 to 30 minutes, to 20
I just
minutes, I
didn't
was
want
feeling bad for you. I
I
was
didn't want
feeling
to
bad for you because I'm like, I know myself. I try, but there's just so much to say
yeah,
and so
to
much to
say.
share. And I
Exactly.
mean, yeah,
No, I didn't just want to waste much of your time, take much of your
it's
time because
okay.
I know you have a baby, you have business to run and all that. I just said 15 to 20 minutes, just show up, just show. I just want to have you here. I just want to have a colleague here.
Yeah, no, it's
So
okay.
finally, before you go, please, what advice do you have for our audience? Those that are skeptical, those that are still sitting on the fence, they've watched the webinar, even some have not, but some felt, this is for them, but then they're still not taking that step. Finally, before you go, what advice do you have for them?
Leave that fence. I don't know what you're still doing on that fence. Leave the fence alone. There is nothing on that fence for you. Okay. I always say if in life, right? No matter how amazing something is, no matter how beneficial something seems like it could be for you, if you're looking for an excuse as to why you don't want to do it,
Mhm.
you will always find a good enough excuse. And no matter how challenging something seems, right? In the same token, no matter how challenging something seems, no matter the hurdles that you feel like, are in your way, when it comes to getting to something, if you really want to do it, nothing can stop you as well. So I have realized that a lot of times, right, there are a few reasons why people hold themselves back when it comes to taking advantage of opportunities like this. And one of the reasons is the whole I'm skeptical thing, right? And then you look at it and you're like, oh, like, is it really what it seems like? I always tell people the reason why you're skeptical in the first place is because you're interested.
Yeah.
Because if I see something that I'm not even into, it doesn't concern me. I'm just going my way, right? So I can't even say, oh, that thing that they're talking about, I'm skeptical. No, like, why am I skeptical when it doesn't even concern me? There's zero interest. If you're skeptical in the first place, that means that you're interested. There's a part of you that feels like this thing could be for you.
Yeah.
But the reason why you're skeptical usually is because you don't have all the information. You don't have enough information. So instead of being skeptical and then you hold yourself back, right? I always say, when you're skeptical, don't keep yourself from taking that next step. Go ahead and take that next step. Get the information. And then after you've gotten the information, whatever decision you make at that point is an informed decision. So if you remain at the point of being skeptical, you could be cheating yourself out of an opportunity that could be life-changing for you. I was very open, and I don't know what you put in your airwaves. Because I don't think in any interview outside of our business community I've been this open about, like, even when it comes to my earnings the first couple of months in the business, but if I stayed at being skeptical, I probably would be at work right now.
Yeah.
Because I was skeptical. I already told you guys, and I'm always very honest about that. On a good day, I'm a very skeptical person. I'm not one of those people that because you said something, I just believe it hook, line, and sinker. No, like, there's going to be questions. But if I stayed at the point of being skeptical, I definitely will not be here. I was worried because we have never personally been scammed, in a business, but we have friends that have gone through some really horrible experiences with, an online business. And again, I feel like one of our friends who went through that, there were clear red flags. One of the red flags was the fact that they told them, we're going to teach you on how to evade tax. Why will you do any business where they're telling you we're going to teach you on how to evade tax? That alone should tell you that it's not legitimate, right? So, but I was skeptical because of some of those things that I'd heard about some other online businesses. But I did not hold myself back. I took the next step, watched the 90-minute free webinar. Yes, 90 minutes is not a long time to sit down and go through the information about something that you're potentially going to do, or something that you're interested in. 90 minutes is not a long time. And again, it's a video. You could be watching the video while doing something else, right? So I watched the 90 minutes webinar, and I remember the webinar that I watched, there was a registered nurse in the panel. And oh my goodness, like, that lady's story was another thing that I was just like, I need to check this thing out. Yes, because she was also an immigrant nurse, and there were a lot of parallels with her story, with our stories, and I could relate on so many levels what she was talking about. So that's how I went ahead and got started. Imagine that I stayed at being skeptical, and then maybe just assume that all online businesses are red flags. All online businesses are not red flags. Just like with human beings, there are bad human beings, there are good human beings. Just because you have a bad experience with one human being doesn't mean that you're going to isolate yourself, build an island, and live there by yourself. It doesn't work that way, right? So with online businesses, you have good ones, you have bad ones. This is one of the good ones. I can tell you, I mean, over 2 years, like, you think if this was not a good option or a good idea, I would have gone back to my nursing jobs a long time ago, right? So start today. Don't even wait for tomorrow. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to check it out tomorrow, I'm going to check it out next week. Start today. Just go. Felicia has her website, on the screen. Just type that website in your browser. Just go on there, put in your name, put in your email, watch that free webinar. It's a free information session, or DM Felicia. She's going to guide you on how to get started. I promise you, by the end of this year, feel free to look for me and thank me, I beg.
Yes,
Okay.
coach.
feel free feel free to look for me and thank me and say that interview that you did that day, that's the day that I started.
Yes.
But
So
don't
you can hear.
procrastinate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't procrastinate. Start today. Because another thing I tell people a lot is, if I did not start in the season when I started, I probably would never have started. Because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that will get in the way. There's always going to be something that will happen that will try to take your attention. But don't let it. Yeah. Go ahead and get started today.
Thank you so much. In fact, I don't know what to say again. You've said everything, everything, literally everything. And honestly, my mind is just blown.
I'm glad, sis.
So glad. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on live. Thank you for educating us, because even myself, I gained a lot from this session. And thank you all for watching. I can see some comments. I'll respond to all your comments. I don't want to keep our guests waiting forever. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching live, and if you're going to catch the replay, thank you. Feel free to share this to anyone, because it might not be for you, like Caroline said. Could be for someone else, someone you know, and honestly, this can be a game changer for someone, and you want to spread the news. So keep sharing to as many people as possible. Thank you very much, Caroline, for coming on live today. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, welcome, sis.
Thank you all, everyone, and this will be us for today. Thank
yes.
you. And
bye guys.
Bye.